In a world beyond, time stands still. We dive into the vacant wave, a nostalgic thrill. Text that legacy, journey of the mind. The infinite loops, we leave our worries behind. Our worries behind.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be in this lovely world of ours, our lovely round world, I should say. And if you're, depends on when you're watching it, if you're watching it live or if you're going to be coming back on the flip side. Welcome, one and all. I stole that from my boss next to me here at Pop Talk. But just wishing you all, thank you for joining us tonight. Believe it or not, this is the 20th episode of discussion on Babylon 5. Can you believe that? So with no further whatever, I just don't know how to talk. But me and Cruz, of course, next to me, my boss, Mike Doc Pop from Pacific 414, and the guy who tries to keep us all wrangled on Pop Talk. Good evening, Mike.
I don't know about keeping all of us wrangled on Pop Talk, but I'm excited to talk about these episodes.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just have to sit back. Oh, by the way, I before we continue on, though, I suppose I'm going to have to do this. There will be spoilers tonight on Babylon 5. So if you have not watched any of these and plan on doing so, hint, hint, they're on Tubi. You might want to not necessarily listen tonight. If you don't care, or if you've seen them, that's okay, great. You can stick around, but at least you have been warned. But yeah, I know what you mean. This is absolutely proving that season 5 is not the dumpster fire so many people have said. And I've said that many times. There's some gems in this season. So I'm excited about talking about this as well. Also beneath me here, as always beneath me, is Cash Monet 007 from Phantom Hooligans. Good evening, Phil. Not Phil, but Cash. I had Phil on my mind because I was just going to say Phil will be joining us later. But
definitely,
okay.
no, I'm not.
Phil
Definitely
Cash.
not Agent Smith. So yeah.
No, you're Cash Pop. You're a bad dude.
Yes. Yes, I look forward for us to talk for more Babylon 5. We're almost done with season 5, and it's been good times. Yeah,
it has been. It has been.
I can't believe we're almost finished with the series.
About 30 years ago or 25 years ago, I was saying the same thing. It's hard to believe we're coming to the end of the series after following it religiously, going to the Lurker's Guide to see what little tidbits came up about episodes. And of course, they continued on. Things got added. JMS was adding more information and talk, and those were added in there. So it's like, wow. Now it's kind of getting that same feeling. It's like, my God, it's goodbye time. They're on. This is it. Like Garibaldi says, he feels like he's the last of the old guard now.
Mm-hmm.
And these episodes really pound it home like you can't believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I suppose we should, with no, I'm not even going to try. My brain again is not working, but let's jump into it. How's that? That sounds a hell of a lot better. The first episode we are going to be dealing with is Moments of Fire and Shadow. Episode was directed by John Flynn III. And of course, do we even need to sit back and say it was written by J. Michael Straczynski? So the stories are basically still kind of contained in the sense that you're not getting so many B or C stories in it. Because basically everything is just funneling into one thing. We're dealing with the Centauri War. And of course, it's escalating more and more. But Veer calls Lita and Franklin in for a talk. Because he's concerned. It's like, we Centauri return the bodies of the dead out of respect and, of course, out of the accord that we have here. But we aren't getting anything back from ours that are part of this. And he wants to know that, especially with Franklin being the head of the medical for the Interstellar Alliance, could he investigate that, and use those credentials as such? And of course, he's asking Lita because he wants to have a Psi along, and them as being humans and such, they're not Centauri, so there shouldn't be any problems with that. Of course, Lita is demanding a good chunk of change from Veer, and because she's not playing around no more. She's felt like she's been used, and now she wants to get compensated after be basically kicked to the curb so many times, literally so many times. The Psych or Earth Alliance, this Interstellar Alliance, the Vorlons, she's just been dumped on. So they do that. Also, Sheridan's been thinking about the fact that the White Stars are great little ships, but that's just it. They're little ships. And yes, they take on ships larger than them, but really, as things go along, the attrition rate for for them with the White Stars is going to drain them. They're losing more ships than they can even think about having, and so he wants to do a, shall we say, White Star destroyer class. He wants it to be a mutual thing between the alliance, between Earth, the Earth government, and the Interstellar Alliance, which of course he proposes to his dear beloved wife, and states that but we need to keep quiet about this. I need you to go home, but it's dangerous with everything. They see you could be a target, and so but you need to talk to him personally because we don't want anything like this getting out. And she goes, yeah, how convenient about all this. We get the new White Star Destroyer, and Earth gets some more technology they never had before. So that's kind of the nutshell of the story of the story. So we also learned that not all Alliance races are participating in the war, particularly the Vree and some other. They have declared neutrality in this, but the big go-getters are, of course, the Drazi and the Narn. They're pissed, and they want to exact revenge, and they make it known quite so that's the case. So she's sent off to go to Minbar with Lanier, and along the way they come across 4 Centauri ships, and they decide to take pot shots at them and to really damage her White Stars, killing most of the crew, but they have no way to jump, no way to really travel. All they have is maneuvering jets, and they're in fear of when those go out, the drifts of hyperspace will push them so far off that they won't be able to be found. And while we're at it, here he is, the one, the only, Mr. Philip J. McCracken. Welcome to the show.
I made it. And this isn't Pop
Made it.
Talk.
And while we're at it, I want to, of course, welcome people who are in the chat, such as Low Spec Linux Laptop, the everyone's favorite penguin besides Punk Waddle.
Yes.
2 penguins enter, 1 penguin leaves, and he does truly have a dome. So we have Penguin Dome. And we have Brett Goen that came in here. So why do we call it Earth? Well, underneath the water, there's a solid. That's Earth. Yeah. I think it's only fair.
You can call it Terra.
Yeah, which of course is kind of the same thing as Earth, terra firma, terracotta, So, but back to the analyst. So, this is the story. With her going, she's alone, no escorts and such. The president's wife, all that across the board. Let's hit the small one. What's your thoughts on this? Where obviously she's braver than brave and headstrong, and will go where angels fear to tread. What do you think of all the situation with her?
I thought she was gonna die. I really did.
J. Michael Zazinski does have a way with that, but he did give us hints of a future with them in Lando's court. But then again, was it a possibility, or is it, or is it not?
One of many possibilities for a future, and
right, and which of course the road home, which we're not talking about tonight, kind of showed with all the intersecting things that were throughout the series, and we get to see kind of the what ifs, if things were different. You Cash, you probably fell asleep watching it, but
He don't like redheads. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's sure.
Well, but Dylan's not a redhead.
No, she's
Dylan's not a redhead.
No, she's not.
Auburn. She a redhead.
I don't know. Lockley, I just feel it would take a lot for her to be killed. she's a strong, I would say definitely independent woman. She doesn't take people's crap. We saw that with Garibaldi. If
no, but
Garibaldi,
I was saying about the White Star.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the White Star. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll get to Lockley here in a few moments.
Yeah, I just saw the picture, so I wanted to talk about Lockley a little bit. But yes, Dylan, I mean, she's another one though. Like it would take an act of God probably to take her out. She's just like it just would. I mean, she's just I don't know. I love Dylan. I just do. She's awesome. Great character. Just so she's understanding. She's strong. I mean, and I don't want to hear any more nonsense about how back in the day we didn't have strong female characters. Yes, we did.
And who would not fall in love with her?
Right.
I mean, honestly, being around that power. I mean, and the power I'm talking about from the inside, not the
right, the inside. I mean, she's willing to go toe to toe with anybody in Minbar. It's just I just love her attitude about like everything. She knows she's not always right, and she of course listens to her husband. She listens to Sheridan, but she also tells Sheridan where to go too. It's just
which will be seen in as we discuss future episodes here on this block. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, she is not afraid to stand your ground, and she will concede, but sometimes she won't. And yeah, just like you said, like everybody, she's sometimes wrong. Yeah.
I mean, just if you're looking for strong women, I mean, Babylon 5 has you covered. That's for sure, which is great. These aren't one-dimensional female characters either. I mean, these are very independent, strong people. I mean, and they're dealing with their own demons because, oh, wait, that's good storytelling. But I'm not going to get off on that topic. I'm just saying that, no, I just feel like when it comes to Delenn, it's going to take an act of God to basically get her off, to kill her. She's that strong-willed. So yes, when the White Star got attacked, yeah, I mean, things look bad because obviously people died on there, but
I think it'd be safe to say an act of Valen would kill her. But the
yeah,
thing is she wasn't good with Valen.
That's true.
She was pretty tight with Valen,
Yeah. Yes. Yes, she was. Yeah.
But there was that, of course, interesting thing in that episode is Lanier and her, and when they're thinking it's going to come to this is it. We lost our thrusters. We're trying everything we can.
Right.
We're even firing off a few rounds from the cannons, which wasn't much, to help try to get some attention, and of course their emergency beacon, but. Lanier fully professes his love to her. And of course, her response back is, I love you too.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows what he's saying. She knows. And, it kind of curious, what did she mean? What do you think she meant when she responded with, I love you too? Was it that familiar, the familial, between siblings or such? Was it between friends? Or does she have a little bit of the same love to Lanier as he feels? Which isn't, doesn't mean she's betraying Sheridan or whatever. That's her man, and she'll never leave him. But what do you think, or what do you think that maybe she said that back to make Lanier feel better as they go into the Great Death?
It might be one of those things where she loves him as a member of her family.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. But of course,
I think in a modern sense, because how people twist and manipulate. Just because someone says, I love you. In today's world, I would say you have to watch for a catch-22, but that's not the way it's supposed to be meant. Somebody can say, I love you, but doesn't mean a romantic implication. Best friends can say, I love you, man. Doesn't mean they're sexually involved. Doesn't mean they have any desires. Just that I love you, man. But in today's world, someone says it. I say you would have to do a double take because they more in sense imply that it's always of a sexual nature, and which is sad because there's a lot of TV shows like Babylon 5 from our past. A lot of books, a lot of things been written that people say that a lot, but it does not mean, I say there's different definitions of love. There's brotherly love, there's sisterly love, there's love between friends. Doesn't have to be implied romantically.
Correct.
And I think in today's world, it's more implied that way than it is, the way it's intended. I took it that it's a friendly, hey, I care about you, not a caring love, not a romantic love.
Well, yeah, I mean, unlike like the Greeks where they have different meanings of love, agape, familio, eros, all that, we bound everything up into that one word. And so, what do you mean when you say love? Well, I think the Greeks have a better way of going forth with that, in my opinion. But exactly on that one. But needless to say, they are rescued, and by all things, it was a Centauri cruiser that did so and got them to safety. Of course, thank you, Veer, for your consideration on doing that, but you wouldn't expect anything less from Veer. No. And so, which of course moves into like this picture here, seeing Lockley. It's like, I do not know how Sheridan does not have a little bit of a torch for this woman, honestly, because I mean, she is. I know I'm probably going to piss off a lot of Babylon 5 fans seeing this. I dare say, I think she's even stronger in many ways than Ivanova because of that rigid. I know, because they're rigid by the book. But the thing is when you get past it, like she's like an onion donkey. There's layers. And you can see where her decorum changes to the situation or who she's talking to and what the nature of that conversation is. Like this one here, where Sheridan comes about 2:00 in the morning to talk to her, and then he drops the bombshell on her. Babylon 5 is basically safe until the White Stars get involved. Sheridan authorized the White Stars to engage.
Yeah.
Well,
But
my take would be on the Sheridan Lockley relationship. Two people, same profession, sometimes don't work. And
oh yeah, I know.
Let's just say they're more alike than not alike, and sometimes you need opposites to attract. Not all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you look at her and look at Sheridan, they're like two peas in a pod.
And Sheridan even said so.
Yeah, and I think if their relationship, both being, let's be honest, military, that's a little bit hard. But I think it's more they were too much alike, and it just didn't work, But I would say this is why I wish she had a second season playing her character.
Right, exactly. More for her to grow more. Right, exactly.
We only got a little bit to go on. I don't think Sheridan would probably say, if you took him aside, yeah, maybe it was a little my fault, some of it, not all of it. Where I think she would not admit to it being any of her fault. I think she would, even though it takes two to ruin a relationship, no matter what anybody says. It doesn't take one, it takes two. I don't think I think she's that headstrong. She's that headstrong. So Sheridan is, I would say, a person that has the ability to take a step and look back, where Lockley has more, I'm going to go forward, and I'm not looking back. If something goes wrong, I don't care. I'm just going to, full speed ahead, and whatever happens, happens. So, that's the only thing I could see that I could tell a difference between the two. But other than that, I just think going by what I see and what I know about the characters of the two, they're too much alike to be involved, and sometimes you can't have that. So,
I do have a slight disagreement with you here, Phil, because I think she does realize when she's also in the wrong in areas. A good commander would. It doesn't mean they're going to broadcast it.
No, she's not a broadcaster. Maybe
She's
in
not a
private with
broadcaster.
her best friend, she'll say, "Yeah, this I did wrong. This I did wrong." But to
And
get
maybe
her,
even Sheridan.
but getting her to admit it, Sheridan will admit it. Like if Delenn took him to a side and say, "Hey, what happened between you two?" I think he would tell her from
Right.
his perspective. If Delenn was her best friend, just say, sake of argument, that she was her best friend, and Delenn asked her what happened between the two, I don't think she will admit that she made a mistake. Regardless if that's going to be her best friend and that was going to be now her ex-husband's new wife, I don't think she would confide to tell people, hey, I was wrong in this way. So, but I will agree with you that she probably in private with somebody she trusts really, really, really well, she would probably say, yeah, I did this and I did that and this contributed. Because again, no matter what, in a relationship, takes two. So
I'm sure she even when Sheridan and her were talking, when things were going, with the splitting, I'm sure they both admitted to each other their faults in this because again, it's that military mind again. But of course, that's between them. They're not going to take this laundry and go out there. Sheridan's not going to go out there and say, "Oh yeah, she said that. She did this and this and this wrong." And she's definitely not going to do that to Sheridan.
There is another way to look at her, and again, I'll use this word that happens in Babylon 5. Sheridan's willing to look outside the box. All right, I'm gonna follow orders, do what orders say, but if them orders are a little bit outside the box,
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna say no. Where I think she is more inclined, it's not for me to think about the order, I just obey the order.
Right.
There's
Sheridan's more
an
of
example of a difference between the two.
yeah. Sheridan's more of a spirit of law, while she's letter of the law.
Perfectly said.
And which again could be something that they butted heads about too with the whole thing. But yeah, but the thing is both of them have respect. He brought her on board because he has respect for her. She took it because she had respect for him. I am sure they did hash out, their problems with each other. But again, this is their stuff. Obviously Sheridan kept everything quiet because nobody knew about her until she arrived. And vice versa. But now, of course, she's dropped with this news that we're getting involved in the war. Babylon 5 is, now going to be possibly a target. And
and prior to her arriving to the station, there was no need for Sheridan to bring her up unless somebody said, "So do you have any former exes or a girlfriend?" Said, "You remember who might be, fighting for Earth Force during the war, especially."
Right. But yeah, they might have that. But I was thinking apparently that his second wife probably didn't even know about her.
Good possibility.
Because he wasn't so quick to tell Delenn. She was not happy how she found out.
I think another thing with Sheridan and Lockley, on a, I guess you can say, workings type of aspect, it was smart of Sheridan to pick her because she also represented a person that fought for Earth, and I think that Sheridan it was important to pick somebody like her that did fight for Earth versus him and the people that were fighting against President Clark that, trying to heal a wound. And that's also happened in our own world, particularly our nation, where after the Civil War, we did our best to try to heal wounds. Didn't
that
it
was
took
one of the,
time, but you
Mhm.
know, some military similar to Babylon 5, the military really did try after it was done to say, okay, we're back. Let's just try to heal our military and our nation. And I think Sheridan's trying to do the same thing here. You know,
Yeah.
he could have picked somebody that didn't fight on the other side. And think about it. He's Babylon 5 declared their independence.
Mm-hmm.
And after the war, trying to get everything back together, what bigger show was it to put her in charge as a person that fought on the other side?
Right.
And
It's like,
and you also notice there's never, besides Garibaldi doing the question of which side did you fight for,
Mhm.
no one's questioning her ability. You know, they knew which side she fought for, but no one's questioning her morals. No one's questioning her reasons why.
Mhm.
They accept it. You know.
Mhm.
Now that's something I wish we can do in our own world, but
Right.
unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. But I would
But
say here, you know, Sheridan went out on a limb. You know, and I think, like I said, it's safe for him to pick her to be in charge. But also, there's the other aspect of the coin of, yeah, uh, we need somebody that can do the job, but also represent this other side, you know, to try to heal a
Mhm.
wound. And
Mhm.
like I said, we didn't see any. That's why I wish there was a second season with her, and there was another season 6 of Babylon 5, because I'm pretty sure they would have had something come up where people that fought on one side or the other would have caused a problem, and there was some type of, I don't want to say physical conflict as opposed as a mental or spiritual or moral conflict.
Mhm.
So, you know,
Right. But of course, now she's thrown into a situation that, oh my God, here we are with another war happening. And in Babylon 5, she's going to have to try to get things ready there in case Centauri decide they want to attack, which, you know, they have had before in the second season. Uh, with that, we're also learning that the Centauri are attacking the uh, hypergates. And they encounter one, and they're trying to destroy the one at Babylon 5. Star Furies are trying to go after it. They're trying to get the Stargate further apart so it can have, you know, try to have lessen the damage. And they discover something. There's nobody on board that ship. No life signs. It's like it's under some sort of control. And they do happen to destroy it as it's trying to get into the gate, and only minor damage to the hypergate, but, you know, taking it off action. So you got that aspect of it, which leads into our esteemed friends, good old Lita and Stefan, or Stephen, and they take the trip to the Drazi home world. Lovely place, lovely people, lovely food, lovely atmosphere. Ain't it though? And of course, Franklin has this contact there who meets him at the room, and needless to say, Lita's not enjoying the heat or the cramped rooms or, you know, any of that stuff, because it's quite the opposite of what I was saying. And he comes and starts talking, and he needs to take him to a special place to show him something. The assassins come in, and surprisingly enough, you know, Franklin, the man of peace that he is, takes one out with his PPG, and then Lita does something. She gets out of safety, looking at the other Drazi, staring at him, and before you know it, his hand is with the PPG, moving, pointing to his head. He's looking at, it's like, oh my God. And then, of course, you hear the thing going off as you're watching Lita. And it's like, okay, what we got here going with Lita? They and they interrogate this guy because he's saying, that there's nothing, there's whatever. And Lita dives right into the mine because she doesn't care and tells that he's lying.
The gloves are off this time.
Mm-hmm.
She's tired of being used as a pawn, and she's going to do things her way.
Exactly.
Right, and who's she going to report to? No one.
Mm-hmm.
She's the boss right now with the telepath movement. So they take him into this room, and when they enter this room, there's a bunch of tables with these black egg-looking things. He goes, the reason why there are no bodies is there is no bodies. There are these things. This is what we found, and of course they realize, especially Lita, that these are shadow tech. Some guys try to take them out. The one doctor, the Drazi doctor, is blown away, but they manage to get out with the egg, and I'm going to call it an egg. Contact Sheridan and say that they have shadow stuff from the Centauri ship, which is no surprise because the Centauri were dealing with the shadows. But Sheridan really can't get anybody over to pick them up, so he says there's a way he can get off and get back safely, and they say yes, boom. So their quest is coming back. And the reason why, of course, Sheridan can't help him with anything with the White Star is because they're making a beeline to Centauri Prime to help try to lessen the impact that the Drazi and the Narn are going to do to Centauri Prime.
Mm-hmm.
So let's think that came into it. What are your thoughts and opinions about that?
Well, I mean, seeing Lita take the steps that she's taking, it's like, I don't have anybody holding me back, telling me you can't do this. I'm not under the Psi Corps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have Bester telling me I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Steven's not going to stop me.
Mm-hmm. No, he was just about as much in shock as anybody about that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was pretty interesting. I do think it's pretty interesting what happens because of that.
Mm-hmm. Is it odd that it was kind of arousing seeing her that way? Just that look on her face, the red head. It's like, oh yeah, she is just let off the cocoon, and now she's loose. She ain't taking it no more.
She's not gonna take it.
No,
she ain't gonna take it.
Take it. Mr. I hate redheads. What do you think?
I don't hate redheads though. That's
I know.
But anyways, no. I mean, Mike just pretty much covered it. I've said this before. Like, you don't want to mess with that woman, especially now. She might melt your mind, literally.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, she's I mean, she's a loose cannon right now.
She is. I mean, she wasn't gonna mess around with Veer either. It's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. But yeah.
I mean, she's
can
getting
always
money
count
from
on
Veer.
can always count on Agent Smith, Baron. But
you can
yeah,
always do that.
Yeah, always. But yeah, Lita is just gone from being used like Mike said to I'm just not gonna put up with your crap anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And she respects Franklin and she respects people in Babylon 5, but she's got her own agenda too. So Yeah, that's I would not cause her that woman violence, especially since she
Well,
can legitimately mind meld to your
well, again,
Mhm.
this is a woman who is
destroy
used by
your
the Spy
brain.
Corps.
Yes.
This,
Yep.
this is the woman who was used by the Vorlund, used
Mhm.
by, might as well say, she was used by Sheridan against the Shadows.
Mhm.
She's tired of being used. She had her
Mhm.
quarters, and she was told that because she didn't have any kind of income, she had to move to a
Mhm.
different quarters on Babylon 5.
Mhm.
After just settling in and thinking, all right, things are looking up for me on the
Mhm.
bright side. No, then along comes Byron. He manipulates her.
Mhm.
True.
Yeah.
She's damaged goods because
Mhm.
Mhm.
of what everyone else has done to her.
Mhm. She had a breaking spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to throw a wild curveball here. What if this was Talia Winters? Because she was obviously being set up to be what Lita Alexander is here in the 5th season, except she was given a quote unquote gift from Ironheart. Jason Ironheart, when he took that next step and basically became what humans were going to become a million years in the future. But he gave her something, and one of it you could tell was telekinesis, being able to move objects with her mind. And it's like, what was going to fess her out of this? It wasn't the Vorlons that did it to her; it was Ironheart. But you
Hmm.
know, how different do you think it would have been with her on this journey if the actress decided to stay with the show?
I think it would have been very different. I don't think you would have had Byron in this season.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
agree with
I
that.
I I, I strongly believe that her telekinesis would have grown
Mm-hmm.
to the point where she would have been a dangerous adversary,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and she would have given Bester a run for his money.
Mm-hmm. Again, no love lost there between her and Bester, but no.
No, no.
And she herself was getting involved in this. Let's get the telepaths to safety spots. Now that would have been interesting to see in the long on the road home if they had one of the flashes seeing her in like season 5.
Hmm. Instead of Lita.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like this is a what if she was still around type of thing. I think that would have been interesting, because now you're kind of seeing, you know, as things are coming together, you can see where some of the original characters, planned to go, uh, but didn't because of various things and uh, different actors and actresses taking those parts and their how they get to where they are. Obviously different than what was originally envisioned, but they still got there. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I bet a lot of people forgot about Talia Winters out there.
She was just
Mm-hmm.
she was all for the Psych Corps until, of course,
Well, Ironheart.
Ivanova, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Evan, right? Yeah.
when
started.
she
Yeah.
found out that Ivanova had
Hmm.
telepathic powers, and
Mm-hmm.
it changed the game. That would have been interesting. You
Hmm.
have Talia Winters stay on for the entirety of the show,
Mm-hmm.
and you have Claudia Christian return for season 5. How
Mm-hmm.
that would have gone,
Right.
since they already let us know that
Mm-hmm.
those two don't particularly care for one another.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Now, of course, Garibaldi was kind of chasing her down, and that was changed to Zach, trying to chase Lita down.
Hmm.
So they have this discovery. Of course, they get off of there, But we still have our intrepid duo, Londo and Jakar. It's still in jail. And, you know, Londo is expecting to be released sometime soon because when people hear that the Prime Minister is in jail like this, that there'll be hue and cry and they demand his release, which wasn't happening. And, he could try to get out, but the thing is, Jakar will be left behind, and he can't leave Jakar behind. Well, talk about changing in the relationship between these two, right? Jakar is refusing to lead the side of Londo, and Londo's refusing to be at the side of Jakar. Where Jakar goes, I go. But Jakar has an idea where basically saving face with for Londo to get out of there. It was simple. He made himself get sick, and obviously it is a pungent aroma because you see the guard and Londo, being walking out of there, and all Londo's doing is complaining about the stench. And my God, I can't believe that much could come out of an Arn and such, which is kind of humorous. But he is brought forward to the regent. And the regent himself is, still kind of back and forth on that. And, don't be so quick. Enjoy your last day because I'm going to die. This is my last day to be alive. And, enjoy this. This is your last day of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And the regent makes mention that he sent the fleet that was protecting Centauri Prime away, which are the ones that are crewed by the Centauri. And he turned off all the defense systems. And say about what a lovely night and such. And what happens? The Drazi start coming in, and the Narn come in. And we have again another scene like Londo looking up into the sky and seeing all the gates opening up and them starting to open fire on the planet, destroying, leveling buildings and cities, and hundreds of thousands of people getting killed because of it. And the shock and dismay that he has is like, and you can even see a little bit with the guards behind him. It's like, what the heck? Londo goes back to the regent. There he is. And, it's like, basically what's going on. And then he meets the true power behind the throne, and it's a creature called a Drak, which we've already met before. And by the way, just to let you know, this Drak is played by Wayne Alexander, who played, of course, Lorien, the first one. And he gets around. He gets around getting behind that makeup. And he is, shall we say, shows off his keeper. And basically say that the keeper will stay alive, on me, and I'll stay alive as long as the keeper is on me. Once the keeper gets off, that's it. And of course, then that order came in. The keeper left his body. The regent falls and dies, and the Drak are basically giving him Londo the ultimatum. He's reminding, what did you do to get rid of the shadows? And it's like, the bomb on the island took out all those ships. And so they are going to play the same game. And as he holds up the little clicker and saying, yeah, you're going to become the emperor. You're going to take a keeper. If we don't, we'll click this and there'll be fusion bombs all over Centauri Prime that will go off, killing innocent civilians across the board. Learning from that playbook, I guess. And basically, the Drak want a new homeworld, and they think, hey, this place is kind of nice. Let's have it. And Londo, needless to say, agrees. And this is his last day. And he knows it now.
Yeah, you could tell on his face that he's reluctantly agreeing. It's a
Excuse me.
no-win scenario for him. He
Right.
refuses, people die.
Mm-hmm.
He accepts, people are still going to die.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And he's going to be a puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is if he refuses, he'll die.
Yeah.
So either way, he's going to face a death. You know, a death of freedom and are literally snuffed out. And he goes and releases, Jakar. He's in the place. He's been buried. He was writing into a book. Perhaps maybe he's adding to the book of Jakar. We don't know. But he, gets Jakar out there and basically says, "You have to go now. You can't stay here anymore." He's truly looking after his friend, and basically gets Jakar off the planet to get back to Babylon 5. And of course, they have the doctors look at him as well. And when it comes right down the end, after he does all that, he returns to the throne room and he opens his, his shirt, his jacket and shirt. The Drazi plucks the keeper out of him, and it goes and attaches itself to Londo.
Yep. It's just one of those things where Londo knows that he's going to die, and you don't know what the character's thinking, but you can tell by his face, well, this is my death here. I may still be a living body, but at this moment, this is my death.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not
He's
going to be able to think on his own
mm-hmm.
unless that thing is sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll be allowed a certain amount of freedom, but when he needs something, the keeper kicks in. Or if Londo decides he wants to try something stupid, the keeper kicks in.
Yeah, and what we did learn previously is as long as Londo drinks plenty of wine, it'll put it to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Right. Which the Regent was doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying about how he was walking around drunk at night and all that. Oh, and we lost, of course, Phil McCracken. Sorry, I didn't see that in the private there, but he had to leave. He wanted to say goodbye to everybody, and so yeah, can't wait to see you again, Mr. McCracken. I hope you have a good night. So, okay, back to what we got going on here. So, maybe that's the reason why. Yes, yeah. So we get to the end. We find out, of course, that there was 2 different fleets of Centauri cruisers in battleships. One that was crewed by these shadow things that were doing all this work, and the ones that were staying behind, and they had no idea fully what was going on. So everything was being perpetrated by the Drak. And they realized now that all the attacks were being done were just like the shadows, which is why they couldn't understand all the attacks until they realized this is exactly what the shadows did. So I think we're coming to the end of this episode. Any thoughts, last thoughts, gentlemen?
I just think it's a crappy way for Londo to go out, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
He had such a great character development throughout the series, and this is how the character's story ends at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the tragedy is past caught up to him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was trying to do good. He was making peace. Jakar forgave him and calls him friend. He can't forgive the Centauri, but Londo he can. Basically professing their friendship that they have, in that he thinks highly of Londo despite everything that happened before, because he's seen this change in him. But Londo, being the man that he is, Centauri first, took this damnable being on him. Any other thoughts? Okay.
Just a great episode.
Yeah.
Solid episode, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to move on to the next episode, which is titled, appropriately enough, The Fall of Centauri Prime. So, of course, Sheridan is still trying to stop the Alliance from attacking Centauri Prime. Well, of course, Londo's fate and that of his people has been decided. This episode was directed by Douglas Wise, just to let you know, and of course, needless to say, J. Michael Zinsky wrote it. So, he didn't, obviously, Sheridan didn't have enough time to stop the Alliance from what they were doing. But when he got there, he was able to stop them. Of course, again, the region's gone. Londo is given an alibi, a pass, by what you're going to do is you're going to blame the region for everything. And that will help with what we're doing here. And, Jakar is, forgives Londo personally. Londo, of course, has his keeper. And he's crowned the Emperor of Centauri. And Sheridan wants to talk to him. As Londo kept on saying, it's not safe for you to come down here. You're part of the Alliance. It's best that you don't. But he's able to talk him into it. And they do go down so they can talk to their friend. But as they do, he is addressing the people as emperor. He's not quite emperor yet, right? But the ceremony has yet to be played. But he's doing exactly what the Drakh want. He's raising ire against the Interstellar Alliance. He's putting the blame on the Regent for causing this. It's not good what you're hearing coming out of Londo Mollari. And Londo, obviously, after he does that talk, comes and speaks with Sheridan and such. He basically says that, we're not part of the Alliance really anymore, but we're on our own now. We have to do it this way. And sends...
And get out.
Yeah, get out, basically, yeah. And it's like, well, we want to stay there for your celebration. You're, becoming the Centauri Emperor. What he says, no, it's not going to be a celebration or the usual thing. This is going to be a quiet, personal thing, considering what we just went through. Now, leave. Goodbye. And Jakar and everybody go to leave the system. So we got that going on, that one. we also learned that there's been over a dozen ships going to the Vorlon homeworld. And everyone that went there basically got blown out of the space. And so basically it's still hands off for 1,000,000 years. So Londo's acceptance of this keeper, of course, was self-sacrifice for the sake of the people, which is in line of the third principle of sentient life as taught by the Minbari. So, he basically, he's being a good Zendari. He's fulfilling it. He's keeping those oaths. But you're seeing all these other prophecies coming true and coming close to his dream of where he sees him and Jakar at each other's throat, killing each other. And that's how he dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was told early on in the series, "You will be emperor," and so was Veer. Veer was also told he will be emperor.
One after the other. Made them really nervous, didn't it? And
yes, it did.
And so this is what we're having here with, of course, the Centauri. They're being demanded to pay all this reparation, which they can't afford, especially when they need to build their own planet back up. It's kind of like a little bit like after World War I with the Treaty of Versailles, and they put Germany into crippling, humiliating sanctions after the First World War. It kind of sounds like they're doing the same thing. Of course, by doing that with Germany, you had the rise of a certain National Socialist Party led by a Austrian corporal with a funny mustache and also liked to paint. So, kind of interesting. Is this what we're going to be seeing for the future with Centauri Prime?
It's a good possibility.
Mr. Cash, what do you think?
I mean,
he is there.
I'm just
Sounds like he just woke up.
Nope, I'm just listening to you guys. So. I mean, Mike covered a lot of it already, but we know what basically Londo's future is, and he's in a way possessed now by the Drax that right? Yeah, okay. He's possessed by that, and whenever they want him to do something, he's gonna have to do something. But like you guys said, if he decided not to do it, they may have killed him or whatever, or people are still gonna die, so it's a no-win situation. Now, personally, I would try to get the hell out of there. But I'm not putting this fucking thing on my whatever it is, my brain or my shoulder or something. Hell no. But that's just
our chin.
Yeah, or a chin, sure. But the Drax is very very intimidating, obviously, and so, but still, it's just I tell him to go to hell. But just every time I think of this scene in Londo, I'm like, I understand why Londo has to do it, but I would still tell him to go to hell. I'm not doing this. I'm out. Find somebody else who can be emperor or whatever. So leader of Centauri.
Well,
I'm done. Yeah. That's just me though. That's always in my brain. Even when I first watched this, I went, "Oh hell no, get that out of here."
Well, yeah, I think he was a good target because of his
right.
Being touched by the shadow and Mr. Mode.
Yes, he is. I agree, DJ Ronnie G. That is true.
And as JMS said about it, it's like, yes, the capital was getting beaten up, but there's a difference between thousands of dead and billions dead. And
Right.
Londo sacrificed himself to save the lives of billions.
Mm-hmm.
So
That is true.
mhm. That was, basically the big thing about it. It's like, you know, you have to give kudos. I mean, this is truly a tragedy episode. I mean, this is a tragedy, uh, but
Yes.
the thing is he's rising up above everything, and he's becoming, that Londo that we've seen him growing into. But now with that, he's needs to make that sacrifice. It's like put up or shut up, and he puts up.
Yes.
Would Londo from the first season have done this?
Probably not.
I mean, he was, yeah. I mean, he was down. He was down and out because of the state of Centauri Republic and such. But so but he still had those principles
Right.
about Centauri being first and such like that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Delenn and Lanier were speculating about finding they might find a million-year-old jump gate behind, left by the first ones, as they were in hyperspace. And you could see that as a little bit of foreshadowing to the movie Third Space. I'm not going to give anything away from that one, so no spoiler there, but just that little tidbit. And of course, what they wanted is the Drock wanted to kill the Lip.
Drock. Yeah. Not okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Of course, Londo is trying to convince him because, of course, he still looks at her as a friend and such, a colleague, and she somehow Londo's able to save her life, whether it was because he talked the Drock into it, or maybe he was able to skirt by, and the keeper didn't think it was worthwhile to even control him on this one because it was more insignificant, or maybe he had the drink and he was starting to figure out that if I drink, I got a little bit more control over myself, which we didn't see anything like that. But either way, he was able to save Delenn's life in one fashion or another.
True. Well,
So of course,
but really, I mean, I would say Londo's humanity is it's just about gone. But I think he obviously cares a bit. But after being possessed,
well, I think he does care still. I mean, he
tries. I mean, it's just time to drink some more wine, I guess, Baron. But
mm-hmm. Right. And you get to see a little bit of that, if we get a chance to see in the beginning, and which starts out at basically the end days of Lonzo Mollari, and of course we saw other things with War Without End about Londo talking with Delenn and Sheridan and such. But again, that'll be for another day because what it is. So basically, that's everything kind of in a nutshell. The Jakar, Delenn's rescued, Jakar's rescued. The president managed to stop them from causing more destruction on the Centauri, but the Centauri Prime becomes an isolated state. I mean, basically, a lot of this ties in with that last episode, which we've already talked quite a bit about. I mean, this is almost like these episodes are like boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
Like, it wouldn't be hard to turn this into a movie by, connecting them together. Any particular last thoughts on this episode, this tragedy, this horrible thing that's happening to a character we've really grown to love? And do we trust Mike from now on?
I guess.
Mm,
Yeah, you hear that, Baron? I guess.
I guess.
But no, not all these characters are going to be having that rosy,
No.
happy ending
Mm-hmm.
that other series would have given them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we already lost some along the way, like Talia Winters, in season 2. Marcus, last season. We had that pig-headed pilot in season 2 that no one really gave a frig about and only made like 2 appearances. No, he was gone, but we don't care. Sheridan's gone, but I suppose, you might say maybe he had a little bit more of a happy ending because he became Valen. Spoilers, everybody, by the way.
Yeah, Sinclair.
Sinclair, I mean, my apologies.
Yes.
Ivanova, in a sense, is kind of a tragic because the death of Marcus really affected her to the point that she left the station and took command of the Warlock class ship. So, and right now we're kind of batting for a lot of not necessarily good endings here. But again, not everybody is going to be going out that way as well. So, any other little thoughts on this particular episode?
Well, I mean, even though Londo cares, I feel like now with being controlled, it's almost like he's legitimately locked in his own nightmare every day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A living hell.
Mm-hmm.
He is. He has this creature that's going to be controlling him for the remainder of his life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's going to take a while. I mean, he's not going to die right away.
No.
Okay. We'll move on to the next episode because, again, like I said, these are kind of all tied together, really, honestly. Wheel of Fire is the name of the next episode. We kind of have a coming to Jesus moment between Lockley and Garibaldi because Garibaldi fully shoots himself in the foot. He's found out by everybody that he is, gone back to the bottle. He's late to another meeting, and basically Sheridan calls him out there, tells everybody to leave except for Garibaldi. Of course, Delenn wants to talk with our esteemed president there, and basically talks him down a little bit, calms him down, starts, talking and getting, making, hey, less about approaches and what to do. And Sheridan comes back in, and of course he talks with Garibaldi. It's not a dress down or anything, and states that you're drunk, and I'm not angry. I'm not angry at you. And basically, he's kind of sitting back going, I'm kind of angry at myself because I didn't, I saw the signs and I didn't do anything. Just like I saw the signs with Frank, Stephen, and didn't do anything when he had his problems and such. And he wants Garibaldi to get better, but by that, he's suspended from his position with the Interstellar Alliance until he can get his act back together. Which, for Garibaldi is kind of kind of hits a little hard on that. So he goes back to his cabin and he's met by the lovely, the lovely Lockley. And of course, this is not a picture from that episode. This is from a view from the gallery. because you can tell by her hair in this. But she goes in there and starts telling him her story and how he's feeling, which is pissing Garibaldi off. Because she's talking about how her dad wanted to be a painter, but was pressed into being in the service. And by doing so, he started getting addicted to alcohol himself. And I believe she was kind of saying he's kind of a functioning alcoholic. It's like by day he's doing this. When he comes home, it's hitting the bottle type of thing. And, Garibaldi says, okay, fine, and storms out, and she falls behind and lets him know that, sometimes that affects the next generation. He's an alcoholic too. And the reason why I say that, once you're an alcoholic, you always are. You're just trying not to hit the bottle. It's a constant fight forever. And not only that, whatever she could, whatever pills she could pop, whatever she could smoke, whatever she could inject, she was all in all that until she was rescued out of there. And we learned about that in the Day of the Dead. And basically, she's letting him know she's there for him. She's there. So, this is definitely a change between their relationship. Understanding, growing of respect, I would say. What say you, gentlemen?
I'll let Cash go first.
He doesn't like going first. You know that. So speak up, Cash.
I guess no. I'm a nice guy sometimes. I let other people go first. It's not about me, Baron. It's all about you. Remember? Come on, man.
Yeah. No. I'm just the host. You got. I don't want to be the one talking all the time.
No. The whole thing with like Lockley, it's just Garibaldi. He can obviously, and the alcohol doesn't help, but he can have an attitude problem, and then when he's wrong about something, it's like, oh, I didn't know. Well, you just have major egg on your face there, bro. Because Lockley hit the bottle too, and every day, as she says, is a struggle for her. So Garibaldi just needs to shut his mouth sometimes, but it's also that he's arrogant at times, and once again, it's the bottle, but she's hoping with this story that maybe this will help him. Maybe this will help him get better. But of course, Sheridan is frustrated, and Sheridan probably wants to choke Garibaldi because he's letting people down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a mess. And then, of course, you've got Lita, and she's causing problems again. But she's just, and once again, like Mike said in the other episode, the last episode, it's just people are getting it's just in her situation, I would say people would start getting tired of it, and it would just keep building and building and building. And who wants to be just keep, I mean, what the Vorlons did to her, and just on and on. It's like, oh, come on, Lita. Like, are you going to treat her like a human being, or are you just going to treat her always like a weapon? And so I can understand why she snapped. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but when it comes around to Garibaldi here, she's hitting all those points because he knows she's right because she's gone through it and he can't argue about
exactly.
it. And with the alcoholism,
this is mainly a come to Jesus meeting between the two of them.
Right.
I've been there. You've been there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We both know the struggles of alcoholism and how it's affected our lives.
Yeah, you're trying to bring out what's inside. You're afraid to let out because you have to have this certain decorum, but that's sometimes not you.
You have to have this facade because you were the head of security of Babylon 5, and now you're essentially the head of security for the Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And one of Sheridan's top people.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're dropping the ball, someone's got to kick you in the butt a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
and say, "Hey, enough."
Yeah. What the hell are you doing, boy?
Um, I mean, even Lockley brings back the love of his life. Just so
Mm-hmm.
just to help him through this problem he's going through. And you need a
Exactly.
support system. You can't people it's very easy to say I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to do this by myself. I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's that arrogance, especially if you're drinking or you're upset about something. It doesn't matter what it is. It's important to have a support system really for anything.
Well, right. And think about that. She went out of her way to get Lisa to come to the station.
Right.
She cares.
Yes.
She wants to help because she doesn't want him to suffer like that.
No, she doesn't want him to continue the downward spiral
No.
that he's on, and neither does Lise. She doesn't
Yes.
want it either.
Right. And she
If
already
she
knows
is
that he's
there,
at the bottom.
yeah, she discovers it in his quarters when she comes by,
Mm-hmm.
as we mentioned
Afterburner
before.
whiskey. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So now she's back, and of course he lays everything out. He's suspended and all, and then she's reminding him, well, you were going to be leaving anyways. You're coming to work for Edgar Industries. You're going to be. I need you there. I need your help. Things I could never do. Huh? Whose birthday song? Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about there, DJ. Nerdle. Yeah, him and the turtles are having too good of a time. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, man, turtle power. But no, but yeah, Lisa's there. But of course, it gives Garibaldi an idea. So we'll stop right there with Garibaldi, unless you have to anything more about his problem with alcohol and how Lockley is trying to help him the best she can, and Lee's coming there to help him
Yes.
as he's as best. Any other thoughts on that little bit? Oh, okay. Spund. Okay. I think DJ is partying way too hard with those characters.
What is going on over
Mhm.
there, man?
So he goes running off, and it leads into what we have here. We have, of course, Lita returning to Babylon 5, everything. Oh, by the way, there it is. There's Lise.
Yes.
And look at Lockley back there. Look at the look on her face. And she's a happy camper knowing that.
She's happy to see the two of them reunited.
Mm-hmm. And she's happy the fact that he's going to have that support now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Support of a good woman, as she basically says. Yeah.
And, again, I just have to say it. This show has such beautiful women on there. Lisa's so beautiful. Lockley. And the characters they play are beautiful people. And that's what helps make it.
And I still think it's great that, you have Lise back there as a lifeline for Garibaldi.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which was, I'm sure, well intended. But now we come back to this young lady who obviously doesn't look happy at Earth Dome, and she's reporting that there have been terrorist attacks on the Psi Corps headquarters, and they're leaving behind those messages. Byron lives, and so it doesn't take much to figure out, put two and two together. They got to be getting money somehow. The money's coming from Babylon 5. Byron lives. I think it's time to visit Miss Lita.
Lita. What have you been up to, Miss Lita?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So Lockley, of course, gathers up a squad, including our Zach. And he's not liking this because he still has a torch for her. and she say, she's talking to some gun runners, and basically they arrive, and she tells the guy to go so she can talk, and basically like, Lita, you're under arrest. He said, no, I'm not. It's like, yes, you are. I said, no, I'm not. And she starts doing that finger tapping, and all of a sudden people all around start doing that finger tapping, and Lockley is still insisting it, and then she starts pounding, and everybody starts pounding, and they start getting up and start surrounding them, and Zach's frozen in place, everything like that. And she says, I've been touched by a Vorlon. You can't, what can you do against me? And thinking that she's got the victory, all of a sudden she finds a primed PPG up against her head, and a familiar rough voice going, you're not the only one who's been touched by a Vorlon here. And she realizes, oh, I'm screwed.
Yep, Sheridan.
Mm-hmm. Sheridan might not be a Teep, but yeah, the Vorlons have done things to him as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And greater than Vorlons. We're talking about Lorien. So she is, of course, arrested, put into special cells, tied up, so she, the straitjacket type of thing. And they watch via camera, but she's in there and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do and try to, of course, it's like, sending her back to Earth. That's not going to be good, and such. But Garibaldi, as we saw, as he leaves, he goes into the cell and says, I want to talk to you. And it's like, what have the Vorlons done to you? Basically, one of the things. And he goes, well, we have to get you moved into another cell because of the camera, because, this is going to be between you and me. He just looks up at the camera explodes. And she goes, what camera? Yep. It's like,
she uses her powers to destroy it.
Mm-hmm. And basically, he starts saying about he wants her to help him with something. And of course, he'll help her. And he's saying about how he's back drinking. She goes, there's nothing about psych that we can do about that. It's like, no, it's not that. It's like, I have a block in here, Bester put. I want that block gone. I don't want to, I don't want any restriction when it comes to Bester. I want that taken away. And they go into that negotiations back and forth, and he offers help at back home because Edgar Industries has people in their pocket that's on the Senate. He can send her a good amount of money. What they do, of course, is they cook books. That's what she wants. She wants to cook books. So there's books for the continuing on causing problems, and there's the other one for helping out the telepaths. And basically, really, yeah, okay, I see no problem as long as it's taken away. And she says, and he's not lying to her. And she says, if I thought there was anything nefarious, I could read your mind. I would have melted your brain in a heartbeat if I thought you were trying to pull a fast one on me. Which, of course, we know Garibaldi wouldn't do. So they come to this agreement between the two of them. And we have that going for us. And we'll, of course, see more about that in coming up episodes of what happened. What do you think of this little exchange between Garibaldi and Lita Alexander?
I liked it. You do this for me, I do this for you.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we don't have a deal.
Mm-hmm. And Garibaldi's full up front. I mean, he's not gonna he's not gonna bullshit and lie. He knows he can't.
No.
And I think Lita has enough respect for him because of that.
Lita knows what this block is doing to Mr. Garibaldi.
Mm-hmm. And
It's affected. It's affected not only his professional life, it's affected his personal life.
right, it helped him get back into the bottle after everything. And of course, for her end, she doesn't take that block away yet. She says after 2 years, if Lita's satisfied with the progress, she will remove that chip that's in there. Well, it's not a chip, but the inhibition that was planted in there by Bester. So it's like, we got to make sure things, don't go shady here, which really wouldn't. Garibaldi would finish through because, she's interested in, the Psycor, taking the Psycor out. And basically she said, you can do whatever you want to Bester. She's more than happy to have Garibaldi take him out.
Mm-hmm.
Because it probably surprised Bester. It's like, you can't do any harm to me. Bam. Think again, buddy. we got another issue on the station as well. We thought we were over with all these issues, right? We thought, how foolish of us. Of course, Jakar comes back and Lockley is right there to greet him, welcome him home. Jakar is honored and beaming that, someone was here and all that. And they're talking, and they go into the area which is filled with Narn, holding signs and statues and books of the great Jakar. And it's this is all driving Jakar crazy. He gets back to his cabin, to his place, and he's trying to hide out while more and more Narn are staking out in front of his place. Stephen comes by to visit him, and one of the Narns forces a statue on him. And he goes in there, and they have that conversation. And it's like, this, he never intended this to happen. It's like, this book to be released afterwards. I don't want to be a cult of personality. I want people to reflect on what I've wrote. And, which of course Stephen fully understands. And it does give our esteemed Narn some ideas. What do you think about this forced Messiah on Jakar and how he's reacting to it, and how he doesn't want statues of him? At least let me be dead first. Then maybe this wouldn't be so crazy.
I think he's reacting how anybody would react when they weren't intending to be thrust into the spotlight like he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he even says, I wanted this to be known after I was dead.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that, Jakar is a humble man.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Well,
all the
changed. Yeah.
characters of Babylon 5, he has had the most change.
Mm-hmm. And made it so good.
Yeah, and his experiences have humbled him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Even more so than Londo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely not the same Narn as we first saw in the pilot or even the first episode.
No.
Mr. Chin-Ka, who is constantly being worshipped now because of the Book of Kaf.
The Book of the Chin.
But yeah, Chin-Ka. Yeah.
The greatest chin ever. It will destroy you all. No.
We know.
Only time will tell. No. This is the. Yeah, I mean, people are going to have to continue to move on with their lives. So, with Jakar and Lita leaving, that he needs a companion who can help heal her, and people just need to move on. But I mean, Jakar is right. Like, his followers will keep disrupting Babylon 5, and he doesn't want that. And like you guys said, he's not a person. He wants his name in lights, or you'd say statues or buildings named after him. He just wants to be himself, be left alone.
Right.
So basically, he just he didn't
And-
write this stuff to have followers or become some kind of cult leader or Jesus or whatever.
Right. Muhammad.
He just wrote this because he wants, if I remember correctly, I mean, you can interpret this different ways, but he wrote this to tell people about Narn, about experiences, and learn about more of the history. So, yeah.
But with it all, he decides to come up with an idea. And of course, he addresses it that
Right.
Me being on the station is a distraction. So I should leave. And that way it won't be such a distraction anymore. And he follows through. I'll take Lita with me. And we'll travel along, out among the stars and see what's out there. And you get rid of that distraction as well. So
yes.
here are two more that are plotting and planning to leave the station. So
Yes.
which of course again we'll see in because we're going to have 3 episodes left after this, believe it or not. 3 episodes on that. Any other thoughts with this with the take between Jakar, the Book of Jakar, and his ultimate plan?
No, I think it all just makes sense, and I just, all I know is that this deal with Garibaldi and Lita, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to cross this woman. No, and no.
But
this woman
already
can
though,
literally melt my brain. But no, I mean, yeah. So.
But she's with Jakar. She's already has somewhat of a history with Jakar, and she obviously trusts Jakar.
Right.
They're doing business together. So, and Jakar is changed, and she knows that.
Yes.
So I don't think of anybody who shouldn't be afraid of Lita is Jakar, for the exact reason Mike said. He's the one that's made the most change of all the characters of this series. But he won't say it out loud because he's got the keeper on him.
Right.
And that and of course you're dirty Narn, so Mike won't say that because he's a Protestant Toddy. Right. And look who swimmed in.
It's an orca sighting.
It's an orca sighting, Lord Crit of Everest Production. Thank you. We are enjoying it. 3 more episodes after this, including the final episode, Lord Crit. So. One last thing with this episode, kind of impactful. Dylan collapses after coming in and cussing and swearing, probably Minbari, about everything, and which of course Steven and Sheridan are not used to this. It's like everything is going crazy on the station, including this now, and then she passes out. Take her down to mid lab, and Franklin comes around and lets Sheridan know that basically what you're looking here is a difficult situation. Oh, look who swam in. Lord Crit of Everest Production. Hello, Crit.
Hello, I'm here too. I've been absent the last few episodes, but if you're covering the ending of the show, I would be happy to tune in and give my thoughts.
Yep. Well, that'll be next week. That we'll be doing
Oh.
the final. Yeah. We're just finishing up on the episode Wheel of Fire, and
Is this the end of Londo's arc, right?
just about yes. Londo is sitting on the throne right now, and taken over by the keeper. Pretty much now, everything's getting set up for basically everybody leaving. Stephen Franklin's leaving. Garibaldi's going to be leaving now. Of course, Jakar proposed leaving so his little cult doesn't bother him, and take Lita with, who's been causing a lot of problems, and that way they don't have to worry about repercussions from Psycor or even EarthGov. And now the big reveal here. No, I don't think it's too much of a surprise after seeing War Without End. She's pregnant. And it's going to be difficult because you're dealing with a human Minbari hybrid. And Franklin has no idea how this pregnancy is going to be done. It's a first, this is a first thing ever. This is wild and crazy. But they agree to go with it because she wants to have a child and put forward. But we do have a situation where you have a human Minbari hybrid 1,000 years ago, and that's Valen. And it's reported, of course, Valen had children, and so on and so on. So, what do you think that we got the happy news that Delenn is now with child?
It's very happy. I think it's the circle.
Mm-hmm.
From the Minbari god to Delenn's child. It's kind of just a repeat, a repetition.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like a wheel of fire. I mean, we've been having a lot of bad things happening to people these last few episodes, but here's a nice little, definitely a bright spot. Cash or Mike, do you have a take on all that?
I mean, it is going full circle in a way when it's already been told that Galen had children of his own. The Minbari, not of Minbari, meaning that there's human DNA in the Minbari already.
Mm-hmm. And I believe even Delenn had that spark of human DNA in her as well. So.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So we're coming to the
again,
end.
Well, I was just going to add, it just shows how good of a series this is, where J. Michael Straczynski doesn't forget story threads that are important to the series.
Mm-hmm.
He makes sure that he reminds the audience, you remember this thread? Well, guess what? It connects to this thread, and this thread connects to that thread.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, and it makes sense that there would be complications, I'm sure, since she's, with Delenn in her pregnancies.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But we already kind of know because of the conversation Delenn and Sheridan had and War Without End as they're in the jail cell on Centauri Prime with, of course, our esteemed Londo, the Emperor watching. And she's saying that their son David,
yes,
is safe now.
Right.
So here we got David.
Yeah, we know that David's going to survive.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We know that Delenn is going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, last season's season finale showed that as we saw Delenn 100 years in the future.
I have a question.
Yo,
I don't have a memory, but in the I don't know if this was covered in a book. It might have been the flashback with Jakar and Londo and Delenn and Sheridan. Was that covered in a book?
Well, there was stuff that was covered a little bit in the book. You had the fall of Centauri Prime, not the fall, but the Centauri Prime trilogy written by Peter David. But that was more centered around our esteemed, Londo and Veer and the Centauri, Garibaldi, and such like that. But really, one of the things with that is the story of David was always, we never saw him. We never saw representation of him. Only the mentions, not even really focused or looked at in the books themselves, other than the fact that he had a keeper on him, and they were able to get the keeper off of him, and that's why he was safe, and that he was in the Rangers, or training to be a Ranger. So, and those were in the books. And I believe it was the Centauri trilogy on that. But yeah, that's the one thing. J. Michael Straczynski stayed away from anything much to do with David. We know of the existence, but that's about it. And I remember in the day back then, we had the fans were going crazy, and they're making little mashups to try to, between Delenn and Sheridan, and see, what would David look like? What would David look like? So, they're doing,
He looks like Cashman.
Yeah,
Half
with a
Minbari.
crown.
What? Yep.
No, he's a Narn. He's a Narn. Remember?
Yeah,
He's
I'm a
Narn.
Narn.
Shinka.
Who's this Minbari nonsense going on? Yeah. Do I get to poach? Do I get to poach an orca? No, but yeah. Yeah.
Well, to go through what JMS was talking about with this episode and such. He said that the Wheel of Fire visually has smoke proceeding from a central flame. The center burns outward. Of course, that's out of the Bible. And several of the fires smothering lately have done that. With Byron, it was a literal flame that has now gone out along the spokes and had substantial repercussions, with more to come years down the road. And of course, that references to the Telepath War. It's also a Shakespeare quote. I am bound upon a wheel of fire, that mine own tears do scald like molten lead, which tends to describe Londo's situation as well. And that was coming from, of course, King Lear. So, any other thoughts about our situation between Sheridan and Delenn, and soon to be David? Okay.
No, I think it's interesting. It ties well into the Fall of Centauri.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I do have to say before we go is when Lita shows Garibaldi her eyes and how they change. I think they did a great effects job with showing it going from the silver to the black. And
yes,
that was scary. Of course, that's what. So basically, these three episodes, it's a block. And how do you feel it worked together, came together?
I liked how they came together.
Mm-hmm.
I will too.
They're important to one another. It's
Yes,
important to show these characters both in their highs and in their lows, because right there, Londo's at his lowest moment.
Yes.
It's a sad moment for him. For Jakar, it's a happy moment, because even though he doesn't want to be viewed as a spiritual figure, he is a spiritual figure. He's brought back hope to the Narn people after what they've all been through.
Right.
Garibaldi, after all he's been through, he's got people who want to help him.
Yep. He may finally start healing. Yes.
and is going to be one of the richest people in the Earth government.
Yes.
By marrying Lise, and he's going
Mhm.
to have a big important job there.
Mhm.
And of course, Delenn shared a child. Franklin looking at going to Earth, being the head of the medical division there. I mean, there are through all this with the tragedy, there's still these little bright spots, and those bright spots are getting a little brighter. Some of our friends, but we really hate to see Londo going the way he was, because really, I know people loved him. I hated to see his path. Good to hear, DJ Ronnie G. Congratulations. Which one of the turtles did it to you?
Yeah. What's going on, DJ? Some weird science experiments going wrong over there.
Frankenstein.
Well, I think there's a good spot to come to an end for this this block of stories. Well, next week, I think it's going to be, we'll hit all three, including the series finale, Walking in Light. But it's basically the next episodes are going to be titled. You got pregnant. You're with child in a restaurant. This is getting weirder, folks.
What's going on there, DJ Ronnie G? Come on, man.
I'm scared, man. I'm scared,
Yeah.
man.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
I mean, he's in New York.
Mm-hmm. And so the next episode will be Objects in Motion, Objects at Rest, and needless to say, those are telling you exactly kind of how things are going. It's like, okay, the departures and the new reality of what's happening on the station. And then, of course, Sleeping in Light, also known as Farewell. So I hope
Which was originally written for season 4 because they thought they were ending the show after 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Which is good they did that, because we'll have at least one last time with Ivanova. But because it was filmed before they knew they had a 5, we won't see our happy captain.
We won't see Lockley.
Yep. So, okay, gentlemen. First of all, let's get this down. We don't need to see more, right? Boom. There we all are. This is okay. This is vanity time, people. First of all, I'll do. Oh, you know what? The heck was it? You came in last. You get to go first. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Lord Kretz of Everest Production. Do you have anything going on?
Well, I'm working on my EU movie. Working on the Plagueis. If you and Mike ever want to, I could show you what I have so far, or if anyone wants to. It's it's going to be pretty good. I've never done a book. Oh, I have done a book thing before, but not this caliber. I'm working on a script with Cash. We're going to be working on that tonight, and then hopefully in the next few days.
Hopefully tonight. Yeah, there might be
and you're all welcome to join that group too. So, but
yeah, well, I'll be more than happy to, because I do have a sneak preview. I do have a sneak preview of what this is that you're working on, and I'm more than happy to share it. There we go. Captain Cash Money. Adam Mulligan's comments. Yes. So.
From the 1940s or whatever, right?
In the 1940s. Oh my god.
That's awesome.
I cannot wait to see this.
Leave it to Beaver. Leave it. Yeah. Awesome.
Captain Cash Money. It's great.
Well, I mean, with that, honestly, with what you got going with that, we can't forget other things.
Other things?
We have that too. Yeah. I hear this gentleman will be showing up in that.
Doc Pop. Yeah.
Yep.
Doc Pop.
Look at that heroic. And,
he's Mr. Pacific.
Captain, or Doc Pop.
Captain.
And I hear Well, no, Captain is Cash. Cash is Captain. He's that
Captain Cash.
troublemaker. But I
Sure.
hear this gentleman is going to make an appearance too. So I'm looking for that. Big Baron.
The Big Baron. Oh man. I assume that Orca is going to be pulling your ship or airship or something.
That'd be cool. That would be cool.
Doc Pop. What's Doc Pop? What's Cash Money's powers?
I
Is
don't.
that
I don't
mind
think
control?
there's any. Yeah, sure. I don't know what powers there would be. I don't think Baron's thought of it yet.
Oh, give me half a chance, man. Half a chance. But while we are here talking to Mr.
I turned
Cash,
paper into metal. There you go. That's
there
my
you go.
superpower.
There's a superpower,
Yes.
and his other superpower is what he has up in line for.
Yes. All right. So of course next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be back with some more multiplayer stream. I'm still working on some videos that haven't come out yet, and is there anything else? And then after Baron and I are done, there's going to be some surprise information. So stay tuned for that after we're completely done with Babylon 5. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited
Me
about
too.
it, honestly.
Yeah.
Babylon 5.
Babylon, yeah. We're going to be
but,
doing a discussion
yeah,
on Babylon 6.
Right. I'm still, of course, it's not ready to come out yet. Like I've
No.
done some recording of the Another Crab's Treasure, but it's not ready yet. But hopefully it'll be ready soon. So I want to make sure. I'm trying to decide if I want to have the intro and then the black screen and then start the game, which would be fine, or do I want to take out the black screen and just then have the intro and then it starts the game? So yeah.
Cash, you are making sausage in front of the customer. Just
But yeah, so there's stuff coming up still on the Fam Hooligans, some more videos of things that I've been passionate about. So there's still that Star Trek video coming out, just not all ready yet. But Another Crab's Treasure right now, so that first part hopefully will be out soon. But I'm looking forward, of course, next week we'll be back with another multiplayer stream. So we'll see if it'll either be Dark Tide or something else.
I mean, yeah, I mean, how long have you been making your love letter to Uhura? I mean, wow, you're putting a lot of work into that one. You want that date, don't you?
Right.
No, he wants to make a love letter to the
we don't need another Star Trek movie after Beyond.
No,
we don't need it. So.
No, we don't. We don't need another start. Oh, sorry, I thought I was cut off.
No,
we don't need it. I was gonna. All right, I'll finish. We don't need another Star Trek show. Okay, there we go.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. So this grumpy-looking guy here, Doc Pop, also known as Mike, from Pacific 414. What do you have up in? Oh, there he is, the man of the. Oh, there he's happy. There he is. He's
Look
happy.
At that. Yeah.
He's liking his keeper now.
He's a very happy.
He's liking his keeper.
Centauri. Yes, he's very happy.
What do you have up in line there, good sir?
Tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Pacific 414 YouTube channel, our guest for Pacific 414 Pop Talk will be Spock of Spock's Friday Nights. He will tell us about how his YouTube journey began, how his creation of music has inspired him to do other things, and about his episodic series. Of course, I'm sure we're going to talk about all things Star Trek as well. So that'll be coming up tomorrow or Sunday, depending on when you're watching this, at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Pacific 414 YouTube channel. And then Monday on the Pacific 414 YouTube channel and Rumble channel. And yes, tomorrow's Pop Talk, Sunday's Pop Talk will also be on Rumble. I will be playing more Stellar Blade. I know I'm getting close to the end. I just don't know how much further I need to go to actually get to the end. but that'll start at 6 p.m. Eastern. No stream as of right now on Tuesday, but Wednesday, Baron, Cash, and I will be back with Pacific 4 Pop Talk. Probably Tuesday night, I'll be looking for articles for that show. And then Thursday, it might be more Stellar Blade, depending on how far I get Monday night, or it might be something else. But I'll let you all know. Then, of course, I'll be with you gentlemen Friday and Saturday.
Woot! There we go. And I think that segues into me, your humble host. And for me, I just got to sit back and say I will be, of course, joining these gentlemen here with all the things that they sat back and said. Plus, of course, next week, 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time here on Fandom Legacy. I believe, in fact, it will be the last discussion on Babylon 5. 21 episodes of talking about Babylon 5. Can you believe it? Almost a full, true season. And so I hope you join us for that. Again, with the usual suspects, Mike, Cash, Crit, and Philip J. McCracken. And then on Thursday, Cash and I will be making an appearance over at 540 Studio for The Beyond. And that's run by Jace. And, of course, on that will be, of course, Prismatics, Cash, myself. And we'll have to see who else will pop in and be part of the discussion. What we're talking about, I don't know. Do I care? No, but I'll be there, and so will Cash. So I hope you join us. That can be anywhere between 6 and 6:30 Central Daylight Time on 540 Studio. So that's that. I would be remiss if I didn't thank everyone's favorite everybody's favorite penguin besides Punk Waddle. Come on. You can talk. You can do it right. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, got it. Thank you for joining us there, Low Spec. We had Brett Cohen coming in, and we, of course, DJ Ronnie G himself and his turtles. Not only was he on the panel, but, of course, Phil McCracken graced our presence in the chat as well. And, yes, he's in the panel as well, but he also decided to leave a note on the chat, and that, of course, is Lord Chris of Everest Production. So with all that, I thank everybody, my esteemed co-hosts, our guests, or however we want to be called, I don't know. And I want to thank them, and especially everybody who's watching this, whether it be live or on the flip side, on Facebook and YouTube. It would be on X, but they're having connections issue with X right now, also known as Twitter, also known as Twix. But I want to thank everyone who has been watching, even if you haven't contributed to chat. It's just as important. And you mean everything to us. So with all that, I wish you all a great night. Take care, everybody.